As Dennis Michael Lynch is coming to the table here. Dennis, Rich Girard.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sid Glassner. Nice to meet you.
And this is Jon DiPietro, who's going to try to get a picture of you for our Facebook and Twitter. And this is Shelley Glassner.
Hi.
Michelle, it's nice to meet you. That's right. We're doing live radio here. Dennis, I'm going to have you sit down at that microphone right there. Just manhandle it so that you can be looking at us when you talk. You got sound in your headset there?
I have sound.
Excellent.
I can't hear myself, but
Oh, well, that's probably because...
it's probably a good thing, right?
Well, I don't know. We were just talking about your speech. One of the things
Thank you.
One of the things that we noticed, I think, about your speech is that you seem unworried about using politically correct phrases to describe issues and your solutions to them. Is there any particular motive behind your blunt talk?
Yeah. Blunt talk is going to get us back on track. The political correctness and the sound bites has thrown us into what I think is the abyss. You know,
Okay.
People, look, I like to use analogies for almost everything. If you go into the doctor and you got a spot on your arm and it doesn't look very good, and you walk in there and the doctor says to you, well, you've got a nice other arm. Is that what you want? Or do you want the doctor to say, you know what? I think you got cancer, and we're going to need to go in there and take it out and scoop it out, and it's going to hurt, but I'm going to save your life. You want to hear the truth. People are so tired of the political jargon, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here. And that's one of the reasons why I went from, getting these letters that I was explaining, the people sending me letters, because I'm not going to hold back. I'm here fighting for my children. I'm not here fighting for a party. I'm here fighting for my children. I'm fighting for your children. I'm fighting for our country. And I see it going down a very dark path. And to be quite honest, I don't think there's anybody going to be here this weekend who has a legitimate shot at beating Hillary, because the American people don't want another politician who created one bill and said, it stinks now, or flip-flopped on something else. They want somebody who's going to get out there and do the hard work and who's going to do it the right way. And I'm that guy.
Some of the polls on Hillary are showing some interesting information in that the single biggest thing that she has going against her is not the lying, not the cheating, not any of that, but the idea that she is just completely out of touch with the daily life of the average American. If that's true, and I think when you take a look at the election of Barack Obama, one of the things that you saw in the exit polls is, he understands people like me. Overwhelmingly, people who thought he identified with them in their lives voted for him. It was like 80-20 against Romney. It was enormous. So if that undertone in the American people really exists, that they want somebody in the White House who understands them, their daily lives, and their struggles, how do you make an appeal to them? How do you reach out to that? How do you tap that, I guess is what I'm asking.
Look, it's like I said on the stage. I mean, this isn't about the right, it's not about the left, it's about what's right and wrong. And look, the guy with the camera right now, he's voted for Obama twice. He'll vote for me if I run. And why? Not because I'm his buddy. Being his buddy only goes so far. It's because he knows that I'm going to try to improve his life. And so President Obama has proven that he cannot keep to any promises except for one, that he's going to fundamentally transform this country. I think we need somebody fundamentally different to transform it back. And so I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're black, white, I don't care if you're a conservative. I have my principles. I know what it's going to take to create jobs. I know what it's going to take to secure the border. I know what it's going to take to defeat Islamic extremism. And if that's something you're interested, I'm your guy. If you want to fall in love with a politician, understand the politician's never going to love you back.
Now, some of the reaction we got on Twitter when you said your plan, part of your plan involved, if I get this quote right, wiping ISIS off the face of the earth.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a military option. What do you say to folks who are going to label you some kind of neocon warmonger that is doesn't get that the only reason why they're fighting us is because we're fighting them?
Oh, stop it. Look, I defy you to find somebody in this building who cares more for our veterans and our military than me. I've proven it. All you have to do is watch my films. I'm very passionate about it. The last thing I would ever want to do as Commander-in-Chief is put any young man or young woman in harm's way. I don't want to go to war. I said it on that stage. I'd rather be friends. Let's make a better country. Let's make a better country. Let's make a better world. But if you're going to be our enemy, that's a bad thing.
Right.
And I'm not going to stand by while people are burned in cages. and while people are having their heads chopped off, and made a YouTube video as if it's a music festival. I mean, come on. So if somebody's going to say I'm a neo this or a neo that, that's just more sound bites. But let me tell you something, that same person who's going to say that about me, if they were caught by ISIS, they'd be begging for somebody like me. Wouldn't they?
And I only laugh because all humor has got a kernel of truth in it. I'm going to, Sid Glassner anchors our education segment. I know he's got a couple questions.
Right.
I know Common Core is an enormous issue in my listening area and with my audience. You flat out and said, no more Common Core.
No.
I'm sure you'd want to elaborate on that, but what, if any, role do you see for the Department of Education? Then I'm sure Sid's got a question or two for you.
Well, that was my question.
Okay.
I started my career, Dennis, in Valley Stream, so we're not too far from each other.
Oh, no.
I know you're at Hicksville, weren't
That's
you?
where I grew up, and then I moved to Massapequa.
Right. I was in Valley Stream.
Okay.
A little before you, however.
Really?
Yeah, a little, just a little.
5 years, maybe.
I want to know that, when you asked for everybody, vets to stand up in the room, I stood up in here. Did you see me?
I felt you.
I felt
you.
me, okay.
I felt you.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the Federal Department of Education.
Sure.
This has been a mammoth intrusion into the local control of education.
Agreed.
And it certainly has not furthered education as far as it's since 1979.
Right.
When it was first brought in. What would you do? You're elected president. You go in. It's now up to you. You're going to have your way, so to speak.
My magic wand?
Your magic wand.
Listen.
What's going to happen with the department?
Okay. As terms of what I'm going to do with the Department of Education, I'd rather go right now into what I'd like to do with Common Core, because I deal with that every single night with my daughter.
I know.
And it really concerns me. We can make jokes about it or we can do sound bites about it. But when I'm sitting there with my daughter looking at the math homework that she has, I can't even explain it to you.
Oh,
it's so confusing, okay? And so what it is we're trying, the education department, as far as I'm concerned, is trying to slow our children down so the other children can catch up. And that's wrong. This needs to go back on a local level. It just needs to be done. Why do I have to get into much detail? If you sit down with it and you take a look at it, you come back and say, why do I want the federal government telling me how it is that I should be educating my kids and giving me the curriculum?
My point.
It's
right.
ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Every time that the government gets involved in something, it screws it up. It absolutely screws it up. And that's you can take this look. Let's go back into it all connects. It all connects. When I moved out to where I live now on Eastern Long Island, we had about 25% of our student body were people who couldn't speak English, kids who couldn't speak English.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're struggling to keep our sports alive. We're struggling to keep any kind of arts programs alive because so much money is going into the ESL. It costs so much more to educate those kids than it does our own, and we're the ones paying the taxes. Fast forward 5 years now. You walk into that same grammar school that my oldest went into, now you go into my daughter. When you walk in, open up the door and walk in, the words are written in Spanish before they're written in English. Because now we're over 50%. Mm-hmm. And so my daughter is paying the price. She's filled with a classroom filled with kids who can't speak English. And if they can, they could barely speak it. And so she's being slowed down so we can push them up. It's not right.
There's a school in the city of Manchester, and I want to tap into this and talk about immigration a little bit, where the lobby was redone by a company that volunteered their services to kind of spruce up the place. And it's one of the high schools where there is Manchester has an amazing refugee population. There are over 80 languages spoken in our high schools in Manchester because of all the refugees that the federal State Department has relocated in our state and city. And to try to make some of these folks feel more respected or valued or at home or whatnot, what they did in the cafeteria in the lobby is they painted or erected their flags, the flags of their native countries. And on the wall right outside the office is the American flag, and it's in the center, and it's at the top. But it's the same size as every other flag without any distinction, without any without any note, as if, I could see maybe if they had a great big American flag in the middle of the wall and all the, littler flags surrounding it, kind of like that melting pot idea, but whether it's in the cafeteria and it's the actual flag, or it's in the lobby way and it's painted on a wall, the American flag is just one among many others. And I wonder, how have we gotten to that point in this country? And if you're president, how do you lead us back to a place where we're proud to be Americans again? And understand that just because we're proud to be Americans doesn't mean that we're unwelcoming of immigrants, but they shouldn't be flying their flag on par with ours in our country.
There's so many things I could say about what you just said. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the refugees that you're talking about, okay?
Yep.
The Obama administration, one of the reasons why I do believe that he just allows the Middle East to run amok the way he does is because it creates a tremendous refugee program. And he's been bringing in 100,000 Iraqis and 100,000 Somalians. I mean, and he's going to be bringing in more and more and more.
And a lot of them have ended up in Manchester.
There you go. And so it's changing the country. He's changing the country to what it is that he sees the country being. Okay? And so to that degree, we can't take in that many people. Where are they going to start working? People coming in here, they're going to be able to vote, they're going to be on the welfare system. We need people coming in here. I love immigration, and I love all people. But we need people that are coming in here who are going to add value to the country. Add value, not take things from it. Okay? And right now we're in a situation where on top of that, the new job growth in this country is going to new immigrants.
But Dennis, don't you understand? They're just being here adds value, because that's what America's all about.
Listen, there's so many things I would have liked to say on that stage today.
Well, you have this one, so feel free.
My feeling is this. When every single American is living the American dream, or on the pathway, everybody loves that word, right? On the pathway to the American dream, then I'll open my arms to everybody. But until then, I've got to take care of Americans first. And that's just not happening. And you know what? There used to be a time when people came here. I mean, immigrants really, they struggled to get here, and they got here, and they got to Ellis Island, and they saw the Statue of Liberty, and they saw that American flag, and they said, I want to be an American. It's not like that anymore. It's now we're separating into, you're a this hyphenated American, you're a this hyphenated American, and we're going to put all things on even plane. And you know what? You can't wear an American T-shirt to school on Cinco de Mayo because it might offend people, or it's going to start. What are you talking about? If you don't like the American flag, go home. You're not supposed to be here. If we bring back, it's part of my 4-point plan, you bring back the American spirit, and this country starts humming again.
Dennis, let's go to the big picture here on your campaign.
Yeah.
Give us some idea of what we can expect for you and how your campaign is going to unfold, and where is it going to happen, and give us a timeline. So how can we follow you and follow what's happening and so forth?
Very simple. Everything about me is simple. My plans are simple. My speak is simple. It's simple.
We need that in Washington.
Then that's why I'd like to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy because I want the power. I don't want the guy because I want to have the fame. I mean, one of the things that I can't stand about being on television, when I'm on television, it takes 7 hours out of my day for 3 minutes. I mean, it's a lot to give. You know what I mean? It's a lot to give. So I love my privacy. My wife and I, we love our time at the beach with our kids. We realize that that's gone once we start doing this. But I'm fighting for my country. That being said, as of today, people can go to dml2016.com, and if they want to donate, if they want to try to put their money on the dark, as I said up there, not even the dark horse, the dark pony. I'm a fighter. I've started everything that's been successful in my life has started from nothing but an idea and passion. And I've got that. I've got that bottled in a way that none of these other guys do. And I don't mean anything bad by that. I'm new, I'm fresh, and I want to go in there and do it for the right reason. That being said, over the next 30 days, I'm going to try to raise as much money as I can. I don't need $100 million. For an example, Hillary, I'm imagining that 2-minute video she created probably cost her about 50 grand, give or take. I can make that same thing for $250 on my lunch break. So why do I need 50 grand? I need 250 to her 50 grand. I need 250 to Marco Rubio's 10,000. So I've always been able to do more with less. That's the sort of behavior I would bring into Washington, D.C. So to that degree, if I hit the certain threshold, and my threshold is $100,000, I want to see if I could raise $100,000 purely from the people who support me on Facebook, from the customers that I've accumulated over the time with my DVDs, all the people across the country who might have been listening today and say, I like that guy, he's something new. If I could raise that money, which I think I'm going to be able to, then I'm going to officially announce. And then once I officially announce, you better watch out. I mean, my feeling is that I'm going to live in New Hampshire. It's close to where I am at home. And the one thing that's been really disappointing to me, and I don't let it break my spirit, but, you know, it's been very hard for us to get invites. People aren't taking me seriously. And it's somewhat insulting because think about if you're the American citizen sitting at home. They say, wow, this is a guy who's been on TV 100 times, makes these films. I've stood in front of machine guns to protect American people. I've gone down to the border and put my life at risk. If I can't get somebody to pay attention to me with a good, solid plan, who's ever going to listen to Joe Blow? Who's ever going to listen to John Q. Public? He feels as if nobody's listening to him. That's why these people don't show up to the voter booth anymore. They see somebody like me just get pushed off to the side and they say, you know what, I'm not voting for X, Y, or Z. Why am I going to give them my vote? What are they going to do for me? They're going to do nothing for me. They're going to treat me like they treated Lynch. And you know what? I'm going to do that so he could sell more books, or that's this way he can go make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a speech when he's out of the White House. The hell with that. This guy's doing nothing for me. I'm not going to give him the one thing he needs from me, and that's my vote. So at the end of the 30 days, if I've got that money or I'm close to it, I'll announce. If I don't, you know what? Like a gentleman, I'm going to step out and say I gave it my all, and my all wasn't enough. People don't like my message.
Suppose there are other avenues to explore. For example, other political...
I need to start exploring the gym. Because my stomach is starting to not look like the stomach I've had for years.
Yeah, well, my hair used to look like yours, so I don't, you know.
It's all right, Dennis, you look great.
Listen, so it's not about how I look, it's how I feel.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I personally, and this is John, I personally don't know if he's got any questions. I know I've got a bunch. I don't know what your schedule's like right now or the rest of the or the rest of the afternoon, but if nothing else, can we have you back?
Sure, I don't know what my schedule is either. I do know that I'm going to go eat right now and add to that stomach problem I have. I'm going to call my wife and tell her I love her and see how all the kids are in school. And if we're around, I'd love to come back and speak to you. And if we're not, you know, look, I told you, I'm going to be living in New Hampshire. You know, I'm going to try to really, really make an impact on this state because I think that's one of the ways I could bring some awareness to me. So to that level, you know, as many times as you put me on, I'll always be here, and I'll try to make it not only entertaining and educational, but passionate. So great. I appreciate you guys giving me time. It means something to me.
All right. Thank you. So DML 2016. Yep.
Or DennisMichaelLynch.com. It goes to the same place.
Okay. DennisMichaelLynch.com or DML2016.com. Dennis, thanks for popping in.
Hey, I ask you a question.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a question. I know that you have to be sort of fair and balanced to everybody.
Yeah.
When this is over, and I'm on your radio show again, I want you to be honest. And if it's not me, I want you to say it's not me. I'm not looking for sunshine.
Yeah.
Right? I want you to tell me who had the most passionate speech with the most detailed plan on how it is that they would fix America. And if it wasn't me, tell me it wasn't me. But if it was me, I'd appreciate to know. Because obviously I'm not sitting around saying they're going to listen to these other people.
We will be glad to answer that question.
I feel for you, man. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Dennis Michael Lynch, thanks for joining us here this morning this afternoon on the Girard at Large radio show.
Like a New Yorker.
There you go. We hope the schedule will allow you to come back, and we're looking forward to hearing more from you as the campaign trail unfolds, because we live in New Hampshire, and we'll see you there. All right.